Good morning. This is Mark Bowd of Real Estate Economics. It is Wednesday, May 2nd. Welcome to our webinar series. This morning's topic is the West Palm Beach Boca Raton market in Florida. That market encompasses Palm Beach County along the coast. What I'll be doing this morning is showing you the most recent housing transactions which have occurred in that market. We'll also take a look at our employment report for that particular market and our forecast employment for the next 12 months. As you can see, I'm on the home page of our website at www.realestateeconomics.com. I'm actually going to go to products and go to our closings report section. Every month we download every transaction which occurs not only in this market that we'll discuss this morning, but markets throughout a 13-state region that Real Estate Economics covers. If you hit Run Report, you'll be brought to a map which actually shows you the various markets that we cover throughout the nation, beginning in Florida and Arizona, going through most of the areas of California, into Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, North Carolina, New Mexico, Nevada, Oregon, Texas, Utah, and the state of Washington. So let's go back to Florida, and I'm going to choose Palm Beach County. I can zoom down into any city within that county. For this purpose, I'm going to choose all of those cities. I'll also choose all of the zip codes. And then our filter page allows you to filter it by date. For this purpose, I'm going to actually run the most recent 3-month period, the first quarter of 2012. You can pull up just the resales, just the new home closings, foreclosures, or foreclosure sales. For this purpose, I'll keep them all within the report that I'll run this morning. Single family and condominium, I'll keep both of those. You can also run it by price range, by square footage range, or bedroom and bathroom count. And again, I'll keep all of those in. Once you click on the summary report page, it will actually bring you to a portion of the map that shows you every transaction which has occurred during first quarter of year 2012. You can zoom in to any of these areas. In this case, I think I'll zoom into that area which is experiencing a high level of foreclosure sales. There are various views of our map that you can show. You can change it to a satellite, or hybrid, which will show the street names, or even go to a terrain view, which is useful in some of the more mountainous areas where you are able to see the view orientation. Let me zoom out a little bit and go to our traditional view. Once you hit Run Report, it will actually download information on the transactions within this area into your own personal vault, and from that vault it will store that report for several months, and from there you're able to pull it up into an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm actually going to go to my vault where I've run that report, and here's the report I just ran. I'll download that. Once you open it, it will open into an Excel spreadsheet that looks like this. I have a hard time viewing it. It's a large spreadsheet, but let me take it in a preview form so you can see the format of what it looks like. All kinds of statistics in the very first part of this table, followed by 6 charts that describe various aspects of the market. Zooming into that, let me show you the first part of it, which is, first thing I look at is what is the volume? What has the volume done in terms of transactions relative to where that volume was 12 months ago? For the first quarter of 2012, there were 8,377 transactions. That's 2.1% higher than what it was a year ago, which is a good sign. But volume is actually slow. There was a big gain in volume between 2010 and 2011, 31% between first quarter 10, first quarter 11. That's slowed down quite a bit. It's still positive, which is a good sign, but it's a concern that it appears to be plateauing in this market in terms of transactions. In terms of prices, prices continue to slide. During the past 12 months, the average price of all transactions, I should say all sales transactions in this case, we exclude foreclosures from that, have fallen by 3.8%. That's not quite as much as the fall in price between 2010 and 2011, but it certainly still is negative, and this market has not quite found its floor. Unlike many of the other coastal markets that we examined throughout the nation, West Palm Beach has not quite found its floor in terms of price, the price degradation that it's faced during the past few years. The unit sizes have fallen slightly, which is a trend that we're seeing throughout the nation as well, and as more and more buyers are seeking smaller homes, partly for affordability reasons, partly because of a maturing population, and partly simply because of preference. Price per square foot has fallen by about the same amount as the overall price average. If you break that down by the various markets that we follow, resale, new home closings, foreclosures, properties being lost to the bank, which basically reflects the mortgage amounts that the banks are foreclosing upon, and then foreclosure sales when the bank is selling that foreclosed property to a new owner, you can see what the overall volume changes have been. Mostly positive, at least for resales. It actually dipped a bit for new home closings. And you can see what the overall changes have been in terms of price, which shows continued degradation in most markets except for the foreclosure sale market, which is kind of interesting. This lost volume partly because the selection may be not quite as high, but its price jumped a bit as more and more buyers sought to take advantage of those extreme values that are represented by foreclosure sales. Let me show a few of the charts. And I'm actually going to get to a different view. Here we go. On the scatter chart, you can see every transaction that has occurred in terms of its unit size and price. And it's color-coded. The green dots represent new home closings. The blue are resales, the red foreclosures, and the purple are foreclosure sales. There are also price lines, a little hard to see in there because there's so many dots there. You can see that definitely the new home market is absorbing on a higher price line than the rest of the market, which is typical. You tend to see that kind of a premium with new home, with the new homes. Here are the volume changes during the past 12 months for single family and condominium. Let me actually enlarge this a bit. See that more clearly. And let me take you to the price chart. This is this degradation that I mentioned, where price per square foot and price continue to head downward in this market, not quite at the pace as it was at 12 months ago, but despite the fact that we are seeing volume changes that are positive, we're still seeing price degradation until we see a few things. One is big increases in sales volume, and another is economic growth, sustainable economic growth for a fairly long time, for several quarters in a row. That's what's needed to really arrest the degradation in price, and so we don't think we'll see it for a few more quarters in this market, as economic growth is a little bit slower and the volume gains have been there, but not to the level that's needed to really arrest this degradation in price. You can also see transactions by price range, and then transactions by type. A gain in resale volume, a bit of a loss in new home closings, which are very small in this market. It used to be a much larger share. Now it's about 2% of the market. We've seen it as high as 10% at the peak of the previous cycle. Here's that drop in foreclosures. There's also been a drop in foreclosure sales. The fact that foreclosures remain higher than foreclosure sales is of concern. That was the case during first quarter 2012. It was also the case during first quarter 2011, even back in year 2010. What that means is that distressed inventory continues to grow in this market. The difference between these two is a measure of the incremental addition of distressed inventory to the banks. That's of concern. That means that there is more foreclosure inventory in this market as time goes on, and the banks will be unloading that inventory. They've been doing that gradually, and that gradual unloading inventory will continue, but that inventory will continue to compete with the new home market and the resale market, that prevents prices from really stabilizing in this market in the near term. There are several other tables and charts, sheets on this particular Excel spreadsheet. I won't go through those today, but there's a lot of tools associated with this particular download that we have at Real Estate Economics. To us, it's very important that you receive this in a format that you can actually work with. If you receive just a PDF copy of this report, it really doesn't do much good. We want you to see the data. We want you to be able to use the data in its raw form, as well as in the formats, the various formats that we place it in. We hope you find that of value. We hope that you will make use of that on our website. Let me take you to one other section of our website. I'm going to go to Products and take you to the MSA level employment reports. Now this will list the various states throughout the nation. We have this report for every state and every MSA throughout the nation, as well as a national report. I'm going to choose Florida. And within the various MSAs in Florida, I'll go all the way down to West Palm Beach, Boca Raton, and run that report. Once you run that, that gets loaded into your personal vault. And here's that report. Let me actually switch to it in Excel. Okay, here's that report. Now what it does is it gives you 3 sheets of data. The first sheet covers, it's just an enormous database of raw data information, the information that we get directly from the government as these statistics are reported each month. You can see that this particular report is from February year 2012. There's a bit of a lag between when employment change occurs and we receive the data. We're actually downloading fresh information for March 2012 later today. Right now we have February 2012 information. At the very bottom of that, what you'll see is the most recent month for which we have data, and then our 12-month forecast that we add at Real Estate Economics for each one of these categories. Civilian labor force, civilian employment, unemployment, total non-farm, private construction, manufacturing, and so on. There's also a section that shows the 12-month changes, and that's shown graphically as well. Let me actually go to those charts that we have that shows the 12-month change in employment. This is the one chart that I wanted to comment on, that you can see this horrific recession that we went through in this particular MSA. Obviously, a lot of MSAs throughout the nation suffered during 2007 through 2010 as an enormous amount of jobs were lost. This particular market was hit especially hard. It began to gain employment on a 12-month basis at about mid-year 2010 at a very modest level. During year 2011, it was a better year. We saw increases in job growth, at least from the 2010 levels, though it was still fairly modest relative to what has gone on in previous years in this particular market. During fourth quarter 2011, there was a bit of a setback as employment levels began to fall, or not fall, but the growth rate began to slow quite a bit. Unfortunately, it has remained modest during the first couple of months of year 2012. We foresee a continuation of modest to moderate growth, slowly improving during the balance of this year and into year 2013. Now this employment forecast is positive, but it's not enough to arrest the degradation in price until probably the early part of year 2013, when prices, we think, go flat. So unfortunately, for the balance of this year, we think that we'll see a continued modest degradation in price in this particular market as it tries to find its floor by about fourth quarter 2012, first quarter 2013. You'll finally see some stabilization, not growth in price, but a stabilization in price as it begins to form that floor. And that's simply the lag time between the economic growth that we're forecasting for this particular market and when prices actually stabilize. There is an enormous amount of information on our website, not only for this particular market, but for markets throughout the nation. We hope that you will take advantage of the information that we share with you at Real Estate Economics on our website. Feel free to contact us. If you are interested in subscription information to these products, simply call one of my associates, Judy Duell or Sandy Rivera. They will sign you up for a free trial so that you can actually kick the tires and test the information on our website and see if it's something that might be useful for your purposes. Thank you again for joining us this morning. We hope you'll join us next week as we present another webinar and another area that we cover throughout the nation. Take care. Bye.